All right, so it's time to locate the mounting holes that were prepped. There's 12 on this side and another 6 on that side. I've got my cheat sheet right here. These are the measurements from the top of the ceiling to the individual holes. So rewinding just a bit, throughout the series, I've been making preparations for this from the start, starting with the wiring during the electrical stage, the addition of spacers and drilling out the holes, threading out the holes for the half-inch rods, and most importantly, making a record of all their locations before covering them up with drywall. I got the laser lined up to the markings that I made back when I put up the drywall. So that's 1, 2, there's the third, and the fourth column. So I need to get the vertical lines lined up with what's been marked up there. And then I need to measure down from the ceiling based on what I have written for each of the column. And in this instance, it's at 39.5 for the bottom row. So now that I know that's the spot, I'm going to drill a pilot hole. There it goes. So that's empty in there. Slightly bigger bit. Again, empty. Good. Now I'm going to start expanding that. Look at all them holes. This is the threaded rod, 1/2 inch. I need to cut 18 of these. That's probably good enough. And here are the guides that I made from before. This one is the smaller one. This is going to have 2 lights. And then this is the main big one. This one has 4 mounting holes. And this will have 3 lights. So now I just need to chop the 2x10 to length, 3 per side, get the lighting integrated, and then burn it to bits. With the shelves cut to size and the guide aligned on top, I drill out the holes 8 inches deep. Now I'm going to mark here. and about 1.75 inches down. And then with the 5/8 bit, I'm going to drill about 5/8 deep. And then one more here. Then I'm going to connect them. Same here. And this will be my guide for the router bit. I'm routing without the vacuum shroud here because of its limited visibility. I'm going to be freehanding these passes, so I need to clearly see where the lines are. I don't do this often though, because it creates such a mess. The bits fly off everywhere, and the dust that settles after covers the entire shop. Anyways, what I'm routing here is a channel for the wiring to sit in. I want the shelves to be as flush as possible to the wall, so I'm going to need at minimum the thickness of the wires to be routed up from the back. The first segment before the mounting rod will be wide and deeper because it needs to house the much thicker LVT wire coming out from the wall, plus the wire nuts. The segments after this will be much thinner because it only needs to accommodate the very thin connector wires that comes with the LEDs. And now with a 1/2 inch bit, I'm going to dig this out. So this deeper section here, this is for the wire nuts. That's where they will tuck into. Next thing I want to do is to drill the LED wire hole and some ventilation holes that meet up with the cavity that holds the LEDs. The ventilation holes are mostly an overly paranoid precaution that I'm indulging for my sake. The LVT wire coming out from the wall is post-driver, so everything after it is low voltage and poses very little risk in terms of high temperature. But just in case some mishap, I wanted a pathway that the hot air could escape through, and this will probably make a lot more sense once you see the cavity drilled out. That is the middle of the width. So this is the longer shelf of the two at 45 inches. It's going to have 3 lights. This one is at 7.5 from the edge here. This is the one in the middle. And of course, the true width of a 2x10 is not 10 inches, it's 9.25. And the third one at 7.5 from this edge. And the midpoint for that is 4 5/8. So LED wire, and these are the ventilation. So this comes with this housing that you can mount. That's not what I'm doing. I'm going to be inserting it directly into the opening like this. So this I don't need. Also don't need this connector at the end. So the way I'm going to wire this is to cut this off and splice it here. Cut this off, splice it here, and cut this off and splice this with the wire coming out from the wall. So the only problem with this is that if I want to replace the LED, now I got to take the shelf off the wall. So I got to clear the shelf, pull it off. Then I need to unsolder the connection to take the old LED off, resolder the connection after replacing it, and then remount the shelf and put everything back on again. So to avoid all that, I'm going to cut this at around 4 inches. Make sure this has around 4 inches in slack. And then I'll connect them with wire nuts. Like that. And tuck them away inside. So now to replace, I disconnect the old, connect the new, and tuck it away. Now to splice this, I'm gonna pull this apart. But now I'm gonna take the knife again and gently score around the wire. Move over a bit and score it again. And I'm going to peel away the sleeve, being very careful not to cut the wire underneath. And just pull that off. And that's what I want. The other piece is a lot simpler. Just have to cut it to match the offset. And strip the ends. So now I'm going to line these up, and then I'm going to wrap this around as tight as I can. And now that's ready for the solder. So I want just enough solder to fuse the wires together. I don't want any big globs sticking out. Which is not the best for the shrink wrap. And then just slide this over and heat it up. Now it's wrapped and it will sit here like this. Okay, so soldering is done and shrink wrap is done. I'm just going to mark which shelf this wire belongs to. And remove it for now. So I can char this thing and get it looking better. Now to connect the LEDs, twist them together, wire nut, tuck it away, and press it in. Okay, the LED wires are now connected to the source wires. Now to line up the mounting points. Alright, so now that they're installed, I need to connect the driver so I can finally turn this on with the switch. So way back during the plumbing stage, I did push the low voltage return wires and the main voltage source wires into the cross space with plans to mount them on this joist along with the driver. This is that driver getting mounted. That's the primary power entering. That's the secondary low voltage exiting. And this is what it looks like all hooked up. Power on. This is with the main light turned off, so just the shelf lights. The phone is showing it quite a bit brighter than real life because it's doing its auto compensation thing for the low light levels in here. But still, everything's clearly lit, and the counter space under is also good. I did choose a slightly warmer color at 2700 compared to what I want the main lights to be at 3000 because I wanted a warmer bounce off the wall. The phone is doing its own thing right now. I can see on the screen the left side looks a lot cooler. It looks blue even, but whatever. It looks fine in real life. So there it is. There's the Yakisugi open shelf with integrated lights, and that's about that.